Hello guys, and welcome to a new video. This time I'll show you my latest Stormwind run where I had 3 masks active. The mask of the Daredevil and the mask of the Burnt Bridge, as you know them from my last 2 mask video, and also the mask of Dark Imagination, which makes some enemies just spawn randomly when I'm below 50% of max sanity. One thing to note is that all enemies have 75% more health and 75% more damage, and I'm also choosing some different talents, essences and corruptions than I usually do. I'll explain them throughout the run, so don't worry and have fun. The first thing that I'm doing here is to check the vial that lies next to the corpse here, because that automatically allows me to know which of the enemies here are, which of the vials here are good and which ones are bad. Since there was a red vial next to the corpse there, I know that the blue one is the one that restores sanity. I know that the purple one is the damage resist, the black one is the heal, and the green one is the fire breath. So now I'm just killing off the rift walkers here. And one thing you might have noticed is that I'm using Conflict and Strife Major, which allows me to use Thorns in PvE situations. Thorns deals a lot of damage when enemies auto-attack me, and I thought, since there are a lot of enemies in these visions, maybe it would be a good thing to play it here. After all, I think I wouldn't recommend it, because Blood of the Enemy's burst window is still better, but it worked out fine here. Other things to note, I'm using Incarnation instead of Soul of the Forest in order to maybe facilitate 1 or 2 banish skips, which I didn't end up doing at all, and also just for a little bit more burst, since I'm not using Blood of the Enemy, and I thought for the bosses maybe Incarnation for a little bit of burst would be better. Okay, as I did in previous runs here in Stormwind, I'm pulling all the enemies together. But since they are doing 75% more damage and have 75% more health, I quickly realized that they will hurt a lot. So I'm killing the Taskmaster here, and now I'm popping all my CDs. The Incarnation, Survival Instincts, my Thorns, and I'm also using health potions here. Also before the run I ate Ghastly Goulash, which gave me the sated buff that restores max health, and the combination of all of these effects allows me to survive this big pull. As you can see, I'm doing a lot of damage, 150k DPS here over an extended amount of time, which shows that Thorns are definitely viable here, especially if you don't have Blood of the Enemy. But it was pretty hard to deal with this fight. Also, you saw my Twilight Devastation beam. I got 1 Twilight Devastation piece on rank 3 on me that I equipped, and I don't have any other corruption equipped in order to not go over 40 and not having to deal with the things from beyond here. The one thing that looks like a thing from beyond next to me here is the madness that is active here. It's called Dark Delusions, and if that thing would reach me, I would get feared. But since they are super slow, it's not difficult at all. I'm picking up a purple vial here, which is a damage resist, and also the green one, which allows me to fire breath from time to time. Since all enemies here are dead, all that left is to do is to click the explosives to trigger the next boss. Okay, making sure not to touch the delusion here. And now I'm pulling the trigger on the bombs so that the next boss fight can start. I'm potting for all the boss fights in this vision just because I need the most damage that is possible. Also, in case you didn't realize and I didn't mention it before, I used Bloodlust on the first pull in the dungeon here, or in the vision here, on the big pull in this district, because I wanted to make sure that it dies as quickly as possible. Okay, I'm killing off the Forge Master here, or Deep Forge is his name, I don't really know what his title is, making sure to dodge the fire cone and all the fire zones. And there you saw the third mask that is active, the Dark Imagination one. It spawned a Figment, which died pretty quickly thanks to my Twilight Devastation. Usually they are a little bit beefier, and they also deal some damage with some abilities that they do, like dark smashes that you have to dodge. Okay, now I'm making my way to the old city, which is the first loss area that we are attempting to do. One problem with this area is that the madness that is active here is Leaden Foot. Leaden Foot slows you the more you move while you're in combat. So as you can see here, I tried to move on and I got so much slow on me that it was pretty hard to dodge all the mechanics. I'm going out of the Blade Flourish here because I have extended melee range thanks to Boomkin affinity, so I don't get damaged by it and don't lose sanity by it. Also, I'm making sure not to stand in front of her, just because I don't want her to use her fire cannon ability on me. Okay, in this pack you have to make sure that you are dodging the Void Zones, of course, and also kicking the informants, which I missed on this one here on the left side. And that led to a 5-second stun on me. It wasn't too bad because there weren't any dangerous things going on around me, but still you should try to kick that or CC that informant as soon as possible. Since my thorns are back up, I'm pulling 2 packs here, this time making sure to kick the informant. But as you can see, I just pulled 2 packs and I'm also already so slow because I was in combat and moved. After combat ends, the slow drops off though, so I can move on here. Okay, I'm deciding that my first up should be used on Shore and not on this one here, so I have to pull it with low sanity and just hope that it will be fine. But as you can see, the video goes on for some time more, so obviously it was fine here. Okay. Now we're moving on to the next pack. What I didn't realize is that for some reason I pulled the pack behind me there. I'm not sure if Valera was it or if I was it, but now we're fighting 2 packs. It isn't too bad though, because I have a lot of AoE. I also got my Fawns ready. I'm not sure why I'm not using it earlier here. Now I dropped it. And now they just hit themselves to death here. Also, Figment will spawn in a second, again from the Mask of Dark Imagination. But I just have to kill it off here quickly and I can continue to the boss. Here you can see the Dark Smash ability from this thing, just don't stat in that obviously and you should be fine. Okay, opening the gates here. If I were to be in this vision with another player, we both would have to click the monoliths at the same time, but since I'm doing it solo, Valera will do that for me instead of the other player. Okay, I got hit by this Void Zone, getting a huge chunk of my sanity drained from me, but since the orb is still up, I can regenerate that without a problem. Now I'm bursting Shore as good as possible, trying not to look into the Chaos Eyes, because that would drain a lot of sanity as well, healing myself up, and trying to kill Shore here. Unfortunately I get feared, I'm not sure why, apparently there is a thing spawning here. So I get feared into this obstructed area that deals a lot of damage if you stand in that and kills you. So I made sure to run out of that quickly using the water back to the Cathedral District and now make my way to the next corrupted zone, which is the Trade District. In the Trade District, as always, the objective is to kill the 2 mini-bosses and rescue the captives from the cages. So I'm making sure to get to the first boss of the zone quickly. I'm seeing a green vial here, and since my buff ran out, I'm picking it up, having another 5 minutes of Fire Breath. Killing the next trash bag here because it has staff protection and I have to pull it or go the other way around. And since they don't have much HP and are not dangerous otherwise as well, I can just kill them. I should have pulled the appendage into the next trash bag here, but I didn't. Which is fine, because now I can just stealth through it and do the mini boss and then do the trash bag after that. Unfortunately, when you are fighting the Inquisitor without any allies, you can't kick all the sanity drain casts. So after kicking the first one and then using my points to damage him when he couldn't cast, he's now draining a lot of sanity with his cast and I can't interrupt it. Now I'm doing the next trash back here, letting my Twilight Devastation do a lot of work on that pull, and after killing them I'll loot the chest with the Mantos here next to me. Also there's a vial spawning there, but since this one it's a red one, I won't use it, because the red one would drain 100 sanity and we obviously don't want that. Okay, I'm kicking the casts here, killing the Tormentor, and now I'm making my way to the mini-boss. I tried to skip the trash pack here, but I will edit mid-boss fight, which is fine since they aren't really dangerous, but in a perfect one I would have dodged them entirely. Okay, this mini-boss can't do anything at all except from these Chains of Servitude. Just dodge the void zones and don't run into the boss. And aside from that, he doesn't really do anything. As you can see, I pulled the trash pack here, just AoEing them down while killing the boss. And after that I can start with opening up cages. The Twilight Devastation is helping a lot here, so if you have a piece like that I would definitely recommend to run it. I had an Echoing Void piece as well, but it wasn't performing nearly as well as Twilight Devastation is here. As you can see, I found a vial of blue liquid, which restored 100 sanity, so I made sure to definitely grab that one. And now I'm just doing cages. Okay, in a second you'll see that I did a little bit of mistake here, and next to the cage on the right side you can see a blue vial. So that would have been another free 100 sanity, but I just didn't see it, to be honest, so I'm not picking it up. And that makes my run a little bit harder. So my advice for you would be just keep your eyes open, so you don't miss out on those like I did. Stepping past this pack, doing the Shadow Caller here, just making sure to get it low, dot it and then run into the bank, because in the bank there's a special mob waiting for us. The special mob is the Neglected Guild Bank, which on kill gives me a flat 10% crit buff. That's the same as, for example, in Orgrimmar, where you have a blacksmith that gives you 10% damage, which obviously is a little bit better, but the 10% crit buff is great as well, so I'm making sure to pick that one up. And now I'm making my way to the Mage District, the last area that we have to clear before we go back to Illyria. In the Mage District, once again, Leaden Foot is active, so I will be really slow and I can't pull big, so I have to do the packs one by one. But I got 2 orbs left, about half of my sanity bar and also my cheat death, so there shouldn't be anything too dangerous here. These little tumors on the ground don't deal damage, but they slow me again and also they keep me in combat, so I'm trying to make sure not to stand inside of them, just because I get slowed so much. And as you can see, the slow was so strong here that I couldn't run out of the appendage, and by that lost 30 sanity to the void puddles I spawned with the Mask of a Burnt Bridge. Okay, now I'm pulling the first mini-boss here. Just trying to make sure that I don't stack up the slow too much. That's why I stutter step here instead of just running around. And also I have to dodge the frontal. I got feared here, which led to a huge slow, so I'm having a hard time to dodge the void zones here. That's why I try to kill off the mobs quickly. One thing you might notice that I do from time to time is shifting out of cat and back into cat form. That's nothing you should do here. It usually removes slows and snares, but it doesn't remove Leaden Foot. But since my auto memory kicks in here and I think, oh, I'm slowed, I should shift I'm doing it from time to time. Okay, we are at 300 sanity and I want to move to the next mini-boss, so I'm making my way through these appendages here. Unluckily they burrow a lot, so they take a lot of time. And also there are just a lot of void zones spawning here. So I'm not doing the best job of efficiency-wise, if you want to say so. I'm losing a lot of sanity while not having any progress here, other than killing these 2 mobs, or 3. But we're at the next mini-boss here. I should have gone to the left and do the void portal there, but for some reason I didn't have it on my mind, so I'm dropping my orb and I'm doing the boss first. This boss is pretty annoying, especially for melees, since he's dropping a rain of fire, which drains a lot of sanity, as you can see here. I'm trying to dodge it, while also making sure to stand in my orb, but it's not really working, so I'm deciding to just fuck it and go to the mob. Bummer! Proccing thorns again to kill off the little ones, and just bursting this one away. Okay, I should have once again gone back to the other mobs there, but I forgot that void portal was still open. But I'm realizing about it right now, so I'm moving back to close that portal quickly. Okay, now we just have to kill off the Keeper and the Elemental here. They are pretty easy and don't really oppose any threat, but you have to kill them in order to get to the boss, so why wouldn't we do that, right? I'm clicking the Odd Crystal here. But to be honest, I have no idea what it does. It doesn't give me any buffs. It didn't seem to restore or damage my sanity, so I'm not really sure what's up with that one. If you know, just put it in the comments. Okay, close the last portal here, killing off the Elemental, and now with about 700 sanity, I'm making my way to the last boss of this area. That's the Mage. And as you know, he teleports from one side of the room to the other one and making you run after him. Since you also know that Leaden Foot is active this week, that's pretty fucking annoying. So one thing you could do is drop a racing flag from Pandaria on one side of the room, because it counts as an ally. So the mob would register that there's an ally right next to him, so he would teleport back to the other side, so you don't have to move from side to side all the time. I thought I don't need that, because I have my extended melee range and don't trigger the teleport anyways, but I was wrong, since I used my Skull Bash to kick one of the abilities and by that dash to him, which is pretty annoying. So I have to run around the room all the time, and you can see it just takes a super long time. Okay, I've got 7 seconds to DPS the mob before he teleports back to the other side. I won't be able to kill him in that time frame. I'm also getting hit by one of these little orbs and lose 75 sanity. So all in all, it isn't looking too good, but the enemy is dropping low, and we are pretty confident that we can kill it in time, so I'm just trying to play it safe here. I'm just so slow with Leaden Foot, and it's so annoying to play with that, but I reached him up, I dotted him, and now I can just burst him down. Okay, awesome. Now I have 370 left, and that's definitely enough to get back to Illyria and drop my orb there. At least that's what I think, because you will see, masks are tricky. I'm running to the area here, and by the time I reach Illyria and drop my Sanity Restoration Orb, I realize it won't function. And that's because the Mask of Dark Illusions, or Imaginations I think it is, got activated and spawned one of these figments here, which chased me around. If I wouldn't have realized that, my run would be over, because I would have pulled Illyria and I wouldn't have been able to kill her in time before my sanity runs out. So I'm attacking her now, and I have to kill her off as quickly as possible, because there are a lot of mechanics draining my sanity here, and I'm bound to fail at one of them at some point. Usually you would like to interrupt the Tainted Polymorph like I did there, but for me as a Druid it isn't super important, because I can't be polymorphed in Druid form, and that's why it isn't necessary for me at all. I just did it out of a reflex. I'm using my Bloodlust here, trying to get some damage off, but once again there are just so many mechanics around here that I don't really get the chance to damage her. Here for example I have to run away because of the Chains of Servitude. Throughout the entire combat I have to make sure not to look into the Eye of Chaos. Now there's the Void Eruption cast that I have to line, so I won't be able to DPS her here as well. And now she's dropping her other Void Zones, and I'm also dropping my own Void Zones thanks to the Mask of Burn Bridge. I'm trying to line her here, just because I want her to get into melee and out of her fire zones, and that's my chance to get a little bit of damage off. That's why I'm using my Incarnation here as well. I have to be careful with the Eye though, and now she's teleporting again to use her Void Eruption. I'm getting a little bit of damage off before lining her, just because I want to kill her off quickly, and that's why I just keep on standing in these Void Zones and bursting her in a second. Which is pretty dangerous if you think about it. I have 350 sanity left and I lose just so much sanity in these Void Zones here. But thank god I have enough damage. I would have also had my cheat death proc left, so it wouldn't have been too bad if I lost my sanity there, but it wasn't even necessary. So I got the Masked Trio achievement for killing her off, clearing the entire vision with 3 masks active. And I got a 460 without corruption, unfortunately, as well as a transmog. Okay, and that's it for this one. Please ask questions if you have any questions left. Hopefully I can show you a 5 mask run later this week, but I need to farm up the vessels like all of you do. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave any comments, like, subscribe, all the good things, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.